1 week after a school bus crash that sent nearly a dozen children to a hospital, St. Louis County announced changes to the intersection where it happened. In a Northern News Now Investigates report, we've learned that intersection has seen 7 crashes in the past decade, and officials say it could be at risk for future crashes.
It's a straight stretch on 16, so people fly, and by the time you've seen the stop sign, it's too late.
Carrie Tracy spoke to Northern News Now hours after the school bus crash last Thursday, raising concerns about the intersection of Highway 5 and Town Line Road, calling for change. It's the site of the latest crash at that intersection. Authorities say a 19-year-old woman driving a car T-boned the bus with 20 students on board, causing it to roll. Nearly a dozen children were hospitalized. A week later, and the county says changes are coming. According to data we inquired from St. Louis County, over the past 10 years since 2014, there have been 7 crashes at that intersection, less than 1 a year. The data does not include the most recent school bus crash. Of the 7 crashes, 4 resulted in damage to vehicle only. 2 resulted in minor injury, and 1 was classified as possible injury. 4 of the accidents were determined to be caused by a driver failing to stop at a stop sign. Now, we want to draw your attention to this in the report. The majority of the drivers that failed to stop were traveling east on Town Line Road. While the State Patrol is investigating exactly what led up to the school bus crash, we did learn the driver of the vehicle was traveling east on Town Line Road when she too failed to stop at the stop sign. County engineers say when looking at road safety, they look at data from their County Road Safety Plan, also known as CRSP, to prioritize safety investments. The more risk factors that are present at a particular area, the higher the risk for a future serious crash. Well, according to the CRSP, at this particular intersection, it ranks in the top 41% of intersections by risk. Given the history of crashes there, the county is now taking steps to improve safety at that intersection. In the short term, they include replacing all existing stop signs with blinker stop signs and installing additional stop ahead warning signs. Now, it's not yet clear when those changes will take effect. In the long term, St. Louis County will initiate an intersection control evaluation study to see what changes also need to be made. In the meantime, the bus crash remains under investigation by Minnesota State Patrol.